Warriors NRL fanatics here, back today with a video, and I'm going to be giving you all my NRL tips for round 9. Starting off on Thursday, the 9th of July, the North Queensland Cowboys versus the Sydney Roosters at the Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. Ins for the North Queensland Cowboys, Hamiso Chebai-Fedau, who will be playing at fullback. Outs for the Cowboys, Justin O'Neill and Tom Opacek. And for the Sydney Roosters, Daniel Tupou and the captain, Boyd Cordner, is out. For this game, I've got the Sydney Roosters by 18. And my first try scorer, I've gone with Joseph Manu. On Friday, the 10th of July, the Gold Coast Titans versus the New Zealand Warriors at Cbus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. And this kicks off at 6 p.m. Australia time, 8 p.m. New Zealand time. And I'll be heading to this game on Friday night as I bought tickets yesterday morning. So I'm looking forward to going to a footy game live again. So key ins for the Warriors. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is back from his suspension, and Jazz Tavanga is back from injury. For the Gold Coast Titans, Trayman Spry makes his debut. Outs for the Warriors, Cody Nikorima due to head knock, and Mitch Rain for the Gold Coast Titans. In this game, I think the first half will be close, but in the second half, I've got the Warriors to win this by about 16 points. The South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the West Tigers at Bankwest Stadium. And this kicks off at 7:55 p.m. The West Tigers coming off a tough loss to the Penrith Panthers last week. The Rabbitohs coming off a win. I think the West Tigers can cause an upset here, and I've gone them by 8 points. In my first try scorer, I've gone with David Nofafaluma. On Saturday, the 11th of July, the first of 3 games sees the Cronulla Sharks versus the Penrith Panthers at the Nostrada Jubilee Stadium, and this kicks off at 3 p.m. Outs for the Sharks, Matt Moylan due to injury, and Brian To'o for the Penrith Panthers. In this game, I'm picking a Penrith Panthers win by 4. And my first try scorer, I've gone with Brent Naden. The second game on the Super Saturday sees the Brisbane Broncos versus the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. And this is at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. And it kicks off at 5:30 p.m. Now the Brisbane Broncos are coming off 6 losses in a row, and they're really in trouble. They're really struggling this year. They started the year off with 2 wins in the first 2 games, and since the lockdown resumption of the season, the Broncos have been woeful. And Anthony Seibold is under pressure. This is a game Brisbane have to win to break the losing streak. The Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, they're a good chance in this game, I believe. This is right for the pickings for the Bulldogs to cause an upset. But in my picks, I've gone Brisbane Broncos by 6. My first try scorer, I've gone with Jermaine Osako. The last game on Super Saturday sees the Canberra Raiders versus the Melbourne Storm at GIO Stadium in Canberra, and this kicks off at 7:35 p.m. Now, the Canberra Raiders, in my opinion, haven't been at their best this year. Last year, they made the grand final, and they were near the top 4. This year, they're at the bottom half of the ladder. They're in the top 8, but they're hanging in there. They haven't been consistent enough. Their attack and their defence hasn't been great. And they're coming up against the Melbourne Storm team, who had a good win against the Sydney Roosters last week. this is a Melbourne team without Cameron Munster, so yeah, that was a good win for Melbourne last week against the Sydney Roosters. It wasn't a result I picked. I picked the Sydney Roosters win last week over Melbourne. They were outstanding. Yeah, in the second half they managed to come back. In this game, I think Melbourne will win this by 12. And my first try scorer, I've gone with a Canberra player to score the first try. I've gone with Nick Kotrick. On Sunday, the 12th of July, sees the Newcastle Knights versus the Parramatta Eels at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle, and this kicks off at 4 p.m. Now, this will be a good game to watch. This is a tough one to pick. The Newcastle Knights coming off a tough victory over Manly last week up at Lottoland, and the Parramatta Eels coming off a convincing win over the North Queensland Cowboys. And that was without Mitchell Moses last week. This is the second week Parramatta will be without their key player Mitchell Moses. Parramatta have been awesome this year. They're right near the top of the table, and they will be a contender at the end of the year. They'll be a contender. The Newcastle Knights were pretty gritty in their victory over Manly. First half was outstanding from Newcastle, and they managed to fight off the comeback from Manly in the second half. I'm going to pick a Newcastle win here. I'm going to pick an upset. I think Newcastle can get the win over the Parramatta Eels by 2. And my first try scorer, I've gone with Lachlan Fitzgibbon. The last game of the round sees the Dragons versus Manly at the Strata Jubilee Stadium, and this kicks off at 6:30 p.m. Now, Manly is still without Tommy Tavrovic and Dylan Walker, and they're without those players. So last week I think they struggled without Tommy Turbo. And this week's going to be another tough game. I think the Dragons have a good chance to win this game. I have picked Manly by 8, but I am not confident with this pick. Yeah, I think the Dragons could potentially win this, but yeah, I've gone Manly by 8. My first try score, I've gone with George Tafua. Now, thank you all for watching my NRL tipping video for round 9. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. I will be back for more videos, so see you in the next one.